Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 5th round of the 1962 season, the British Grand Prix. It was held on the 21st of July, it had 26 entries, 21 of them took part in the race with 5 having to retire. The race consisted of 75 laps completed in 2 hours, 26 minutes and 21 seconds. Jim Clark started the race from pole with Surtees in 2nd, Ireland 3rd, McLaren 4th, Graham Hill 5th and Gurney started from 6th. After a superb drive, Jim Clark won the British Grand Prix with Surtees in 2nd, 49.2 seconds behind. McLaren finished 3rd, he was 1 minute 44.8 seconds behind. Graham Hill ended the race in 4th, he was 1 minute 55.8 seconds behind. Brabham crossed the line in 5th, he was 1 lap down. And the last point scoring position was occupied by Tony Maggs, who was also 1 lap down. The fastest lap of the race went to Jim Clark, it was a 1 minute 55 second lap. We're here at the fantastic Aintree circuit where a lap starts off with a long run down into turn 1, an open right-hander. Be careful not to crash into the wall on the corner exit. We then come into turn 2, anchor crossing, a tight right-hander. Take it easy as the car likes to oversteer through here. But next we come into cottage corner, a tight left-hander, which is followed by another tight left-hander called country corner. We then come into village corner, hug the curb and keep it nice and tight through here. Next is Beecher's Bend, a long right-hander. Pay attention as the entry is tighter than the exit. But this brings us on to the longest straight on the track, which ends with Melling crossing a fast right-left chicane, followed almost immediately by another slower right-left chicane. This itself is followed by Tat's corner, bringing us around onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Aintree circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to start our flying lap. There were cars on the track, I tried to avoid one, however the Ferrari appeared out of nowhere. I ended up crashing into it, and well, that flipped me upside down. Not only that, but I lost my front left, so that's the end of qualifying. And here is a replay of that. I only saw the first one. By the time I realized that there was another car on the track as well, it was kind of too late to avoid it, so unfortunately that is the end of qualifying for us, so we shall be moving on. And here are the previous British Grand Prix winners. The last time we've won a British Grand Prix was in 1959, and hopefully, well, maybe not win, but at least get a few points. That would be absolutely fantastic here today. And here is the grid walk, and we have Graham Hill on pole with Bruce McLaren in 2nd, Jim Clark is in 3rd with John Surtees in 4th, Joe Bonnier 5th, and rounding off the top 6 is Dan Gurney. Then we have Phil Hill in 7th, Jackie Lewis is 8th, followed by Willie Mae Rees in 9th and Richie Ginther in 10th. In 11th we have Joe Siffert and Maston Gregory in 12th. 13th is Trevor Taylor, followed by Innes Ireland in 14th. 15th is De Beaufort, 16th is Rodriguez. 17th we have Tony Maggs and Giancarlo Baghetti in 18th. And rounding up and bringing up the rear we have Lorenzo Bandini in 19th, and Andy Higgs is down in 20th, obviously, since we haven't even posted a qualifying lap. So that was the grid lineup, and we are here for the British Grand Prix. The final ever race at Aintree is going to take place here today. That's quite unfortunate because I really like Aintree, but I guess it's time to move on, and that's that. Anyway, we had a pretty decent start. I managed to gain 2 positions, however Bandini then immediately got in front of me, so for a split second we've fallen down to 19th, but we've moved back into 18th, and now we pass Ricardo Rodriguez as we come into turn 2 here, and we are up in 17th. Looking at De Beaufort, however, I didn't have the track position to try and overtake him without risking a collision, so I decided to stay back, and here is a replay of the start. Once again, a pretty decent initial launch, however Lorenzo Bandini's Ferrari proved to be quite faster than mine, so there was a little bit of struggle there to try and keep my Brabham in front. However, since I kind of tried to stay as far from the other cars as possible, that kind of allowed Bandini to kind of do what he wanted, really, and keep in front. However, eventually I managed to overtake him, and as well as Ricardo Rodriguez. So, and here we are a little bit later on the opening lap. I coming through this right-hander, overtaking De Beaufort. We are now up in 16th, chasing after Trevor Taylor. He's about 1 second behind, and here we are coming around to finish lap 1. We saw a car on the right in the pits. I'm not quite sure who it was, but we'll find out shortly as we come through turn 1 here. We overtake Trevor Taylor and we move up into 14th, so that's a pretty good initial lap. And here is Dan Gurney coming into the pits. Not quite sure why, however, he is going to retire because, well, the pits are broken here. And now we're coming on lap 2, and we saw Joe Siffert on the side of the road there with his car upside down. Not quite sure what happened there either. And here is a replay. He kind of loses control of his car, and well, the camera then spazzes out a bit and he ends up upside down. I think he kind of hit the embankment there. As we now move on to lap 3, I tried to keep these two Ferraris behind me, however they decided to cut the track. I wasn't expecting that, so they managed to slip past me, which put me down into 15th. Later on lap 5, I managed to overtake Jim Clark, and we moved back up into 14th, still chasing after the two Ferraris overtook me, but I don't think we'll be able to catch them. As we now move on to lap 6, I overtook Mastin Gregory coming into turn 2. However, I couldn't overtake Ireland as well, but I'm going to try to keep behind him and eventually overtake him through turn 4, I believe here. So we're back up in we're now up in 12th, chasing after Giancarlo Baghetti. Now on lap 8, again another Ferrari, this time Lorenzo Bandini cuts the track and gets ahead of me. I wasn't really expecting that. And now on lap 9, coming through turn 2 here, and once again disaster, and the engine decides to give up once more. So that's the end of the race for Andy Higgs once again. This is the 5th time in a row this happened. And here is a replay of Bruce McLaren coming around to finish lap 9 and post the fastest lap of the race. So congratulations to Bruce McLaren. Obviously he is very fast today. And here is a replay of Andy Higgs coming into turn 2 here, chasing after one of the Ferraris there. And as we reach about the midpoint of the corner, my engine decides that it had more than enough. So that is yet another disappointing end to a race. I really hope we'll get this fixed soon, and actually we are going to get this fixed soon, but I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. And here is a replay of Bruce McLaren, who on lap 10 had a problem with his suspension. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see him what exactly happened. However, what happened, he pulled to the side, and that was the end of his race as well. Shame, because he was leading the race. And here is a replay of Mastin Gregory, who loses control of his late stall, crashes into the fence, loses his front right, and that is the end of his race. Then on lap 21, we see Graham Hill coming into the pits to retire for whatever reason. And now we're on lap 22, looking at Trevor Taylor in his Lotus. We see flames coming out of the back of his car, and that's the end of his race as well. He pulls to the side, dark gray smoke pouring out of the car now, and obviously that's the end of his race. Then we move on to lap 23, and we see De Beaufort coming into the pits. He had a gearbox problem. And now we move on to lap 24, and that is John Surtees in his car. Not quite sure what's happening. He actually loses control of his car on a straight bit of road. I'm not quite sure how that happens. However, he ends up at the side of the road, and that is the end of his race as well, unfortunately. And here we are looking at Joe Bonnier coming around to take the win of the British Grand Prix. Congratulations to Joe Bonnier. Phil Hill finishes 2nd, Jackie Lewis 3rd, Max 4th, Maryse 5th, Baghetti 6th, and quite a few other people who finished. And here are the retirements. Once again, we number ourselves among them, which is quite unfortunate, but what can we do? Well, actually there is something I can do, and we will see that in the future, but unfortunately the information didn't come soon enough to fix whatever was the problem. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 107th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 8 pole positions, has posted 16 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 72 races, 57 of them in the points, has won 35 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 388 points, has retired 35 times, has experienced 2,362 out of 2,914 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 35 gold trophies, and as an extension 35 podiums. And here is a look at the championship standings. Phil Hill moves into the lead, Joe Bonnier is now 2nd, Dan Gurney and McLaren fighting for 3rd at the moment, Lorenzo Bandini and Willie Maryse fighting for 5th. The last person to score points is Joe Siffert down in 14th, Andy is still in 19th, and Maston Gregory bringing up the bottom of the driver's standings. And with that, let's move on to the constructors now, where we see Porsche moving into the lead, Ferrari are 2nd, Cooper 3rd, Team Lotus 4th, Ecurie Galois 5th, Bowmaker Yeoman are 6th. The last team to score points are Scuderia Filippinetti, and our team Brabham Racing is down in 11th. So that was the British Grand Prix. Once again, another disappointing race for both Andy and Brabham. Quite unfortunate once again. However, there were a bunch of very helpful comments in the previous video that helped me pinpoint the problem and fix it. However, it came a little bit too late. I already had the British Grand Prix recorded. I could have done it again. I did have time to do it all over again, but I felt that it would be a little bit cheating trying to restart the race and do it all over again. So unfortunately, it will only come after the German Grand Prix. So thank you to everyone who've been leaving comments and trying to help me figure out why my engine kept blowing up. Your help was very useful, and luckily, starting next race, the German Grand Prix, we will, well, at the very least, we will be starting to at least finish races, if not score points. So yeah, that is that, I guess. And as I said, the next race is the German Grand Prix at the Nordschleife, so looking forward to that. After all, it is my favorite circuit of all, so I'm hoping for a good race there. But anyway, that is the end of the British Grand Prix. Once again, this was the last race ever to be held at the Aintree circuit, which is quite sad because Aintree had a very important role in British motorsport history. It claimed a lot of firsts, so it's quite sad to see it go. And it's a very fun circuit as well, which makes it even sadder. Well, at least I have fun racing around it. But anyway, that is the end of the British Grand Prix, the end of this video. Once again, a bad race for both Brabham and Andy, but luckily things will change starting next race, so at least we have that going for us. Anyway, don't forget to vote for next season's team, link is in the description. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and Homefront, so if you're interested in any of those games, there will be a link in the description to my second channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.